District 103.
It is my pleasure to talk to James Traywick. James, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Jerome.
So you are a international speech contestant this year.
Yes, I am.
So first tell me, where are you from?
I'm from here from Chicago, so I will be representing the Chicago land area at the International Speech Contest.
Chicago.
Yes, Chicago. Chicago home.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good. Have you always lived in Chicago? Or did you have you lived anywhere else?
Actually, I wasn't born in Chicago. I was born in Arkansas, and I was raised in Cleveland, Ohio,
Oh, okay,
which is in part of my speech about Cleveland, so part of it.
okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So talk to me. Somehow, at some point in your life, you decided, I want to check this Toastmasters thing out. Walk me through, how did that happen?
I mean, I guess the beginning, I really would say, started when I was in college. I had a class, and I had to do a presentation, and I was it was a January day, and it was wind chill. It was like 20 degrees below on the wind chill factor. And I had to go outside from one building to another building.
Okay.
And in that process, from going from one building to another building, perspiration was just running down my face in January. But I made it through the speech. But at that point, I realized I need to do something about this seriousness and public speaking. So I joined Toastmasters.
Okay. So you joined Toastmasters. Did you see like an instant automatically? You were like, I can go out and be a professional speaker, go out and motivate people, or walk us through the journey. How did it happen for you?
Well, no, even now, when I'm doing presentation, I still get butterflies.
Oh.
I don't think that ever goes away, at least for me. But I don't think it's bad necessarily. It just keeps me sharp and focused. And at that point in time, when I realized I need to improve my public speaking, I joined Toastmasters. My very first speech was the icebreaker, and the icebreaker had so many ahs and ums, and I think they weren't able to count them so many. So at that point in time, but it was okay for me because I realized that's why I joined Toastmasters. And from then, I always say I want to speak as much as possible.
Sure.
Don't worry about the mistakes or whatever it may be. Just constantly keep speaking, and you will improve. So it's kind of my motto now: just speak as much as possible.
Okay. Well, I personally heard some of your speeches, and I have been moved, and I've also felt something that told me to improve where I am in my life. How do you walk us through the process of how you're able to create a speech to connect with someone like myself?
Because we all have something that's in common, because we all are human beings.
Yes.
So I started, and we all have personal stories, and we all have our own experience. So you look at those things and see, how does this fit me with somebody else's experience? And I find in my speeches, that's what I look at. I look at my stories, I look at the experiences that I have had, and how can I share that with someone else? And that's how I approach my speeches. So my speeches, I always try to make my speeches inspirational as much as possible.
I read something about you, and I find this hard to believe now, but you started out, or I guess you are an introvert.
Yeah.
So, so where you are now, an introvert, you come across as an extrovert. Walk us through that, because for me, it's like just seeing your speeches, being moved by them. It would never come across my mind that, that this was something that you were looking to improve on.
I believe the basis of that is by being an introverted person, I try to project just the opposite.
Oh, okay.
Even in my training in Toastmasters, the manuals that I started out with, besides the communication manual, my next manual was the humorous speaking manual, because my wife started laughing at me when I said I want to do a humorous speech. She said, you know you're not funny. I'm too serious, because of my nature. I'm a serious person. So that's that was one of the first ones I chose, humorous speaking. Then I went to stories. I thought if I could get these two manuals complement each other, then I'd be able to do things I want to do in Toastmasters. So that's how I started with that. And then stories. Stories are always great. When I speak to people about speaking, you always want to have a personal story, because we all relate to that. So that's one of the first criteria for me, is to get a personal story. And then whatever that message I have, I want to be able to incorporate into that personal story.
Amazing, very amazing. So outside of Toastmasters helping you personally, did it have any benefits to you professionally at all?
Yeah, I think it prepares me to get in front of audience that I'm be speaking to, depends on what I'm talking about at a particular point in time. But the format is the same. Certain things I recognize when I'm doing a presentation, time-wise,
Yes.
because I've been training Toastmasters with timing.
Okay.
Try to project more of the things I need to do. Not that I always am successful, but at least I'll give it that effort and try to just constantly improve. That's my deal thing. Just be a little bit better today than I was yesterday, and be a little bit better tomorrow than I am today. That's my focus. That's my life focus.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I try to do.
So something else I want to share with everyone, you've actually served every officer role in Toastmasters. And I know they're all equally important.
Yeah.
But for your personal growth, going through, which one did you see that made the biggest impact and difference?
For me, it was being president.
Okay.
Because I had a goal for the club, not for myself, but the club. I wanted to make sure that we became presidential distinguished club.
Okay.
And I sit down and I thought about, well, how can I, as the president, make sure we attain this goal? So I brought my team together, and what I came to decide was if we were gonna assign people goals. In other words, if you need a CC and you had 7 speeches, we come to you and say, Jerome, we need by X date for you to finish up these next 3 speeches so we can get that credit.
Sure.
And the club bit into it. They like that process of having goals assigned to them.
Sure.
We needed CC, we needed advanced communication bronze. So people knew what their goals were for the club,
Right.
as well as for their own personal benefit. And when we were able to bring those two together, I think that's what makes the club exciting.
Well, let's share with everyone. Tell us what club.
Well, I'm at Boulder, Chocolate, that's located in Hyde Park
Okay,
in
yeah.
Chicago. That's my home club. Although I'm a member of multiple clubs, which gives me the opportunity to speak quite often. That's what I do.
Very good. So a couple more questions for you. Back to the speech
Yes.
and crafting your speech. What advice or what would you help someone to help discover how to prepare a speech for this great grand stage we're going to be on pretty soon?
Well, for me, my speech, the one that I'm doing in the semifinals when Life Gives You Lemons, was a process.
Sure.
I started out with the basics of that speech, and I watched it evolve over the years, 3 years actually. My very first year in Toastmaster, I entered into competition because I think that's a way for you to grow.
Sure.
To get so I didn't do too well, but when I saw the video, I knew you gotta get better at it. But I kept working with the speech because I thought I had a good foundation.
Sure.
So I just kept working with it, tweaking it here, tweaking it there, and getting feedback here, feedback everywhere, and just kept adding things and taking away things till I got the speech down to where I wanted it to be. And we'll see what's gonna happen next.
Well, I would tell anyone who's going to watch the International Speech Contest, definitely listen to your wonderful speech. Definitely.
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom that you want to share with the audience? Maybe someone who's looking to join Toastmasters.
It's the best organization that I have found for what you get out of it compared to what you put into in terms of the fees.
Sure.
They charge you fees twice a year, minimal for as I'm concerned. But the skills that you develop are lifelong skills that are your skills. No one can ever take those from you. And you use those skills in multiple types of situations. And that's why I'm a big fan of Toastmasters. I really encourage young people to join Toastmasters because it's going to help them in their life, as far as I'm concerned, whatever their profession may be. That's one of my things about Toastmasters.
James, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jerome.
so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
District 103.